Hello everyone watching at home, you're with Adelaide Eternal, bringing you our vintage coverage from our Vintage Challenge. I'm Sarven McLinton, and here in the booth with me is Drew Carter.
Hello guys.
So we're going to have a match here between James Arthur on the left, who is on a survival deck, and we've got Conor Dalton on the right, who's on Landstill. Now, James Arthur is one of the mainstays, and he's here in match 1, showing us his power. As you can see, he is in our Hall of Heroes, and he's looking to claim his vintage win. So, James is on this survival deck. Now, this is relatively recent, but also old tech, right? So the survival has kind of seen a resurgence in popularity, probably due to VSL and people, brewing on there, and then everyone else trying to pick that list up. How does it work? So survival of the fittest. Obviously, the engine, discard creature cards to find other creature cards that you need. One of the greatest things to discard, obviously, is Basking Rootweiler, which allows you to basically play it with Madness for free. And at the same time, what you do is you fill your graveyard with Vengevines, you cast a second creature for the turn, the Vengevines all come back, and you get to attack them. But this isn't always necessarily the way that the deck goes, because you've also got this backup plan where just discarding cards happens to pay for the mana for your hollowed one, which is pretty sweet. So there's other interactions there, like Squee. Squee's a nice way for you to discard and then redraw him again and discard again. And then in the graveyard, you have cards like Anger and Wonder, which give abilities to your creatures on the battlefield. What do you think of the deck?
No, it's very interesting. I know it won a huge tournament in Japan, and Stephen Medenian was really raving about how this represented the resurrection of like one of the missing schools of Magic from the very early days, how this was like an genuine aggro list.
Sweet.
And so, yeah, so it is a Bazaar of Baghdad list. Like that's the kind of, and Survival of the Fittest, I suppose. So the squeeze fitting into both of those plans.
Does this make this like the most expensive vintage deck? Because isn't it running, it's running 4 Bazaars, and it's also running, there's no power.
No, it's got 4 Moxen.
It's got 4 Moxen, it's got the Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and it's got the Bazaars. Yeah, surely this is the most expensive deck you could possibly build.
It possibly is, yeah. For just a little aggro deck.
So let's have a look over at a deck that is a lot less expensive, but again, vintage, it's all relative. So Conor Dalton is on Landstill. Landstill is popular for running not all of the full complement of your Moxen, which is one way to cut your price down. You only just run the Pearl and the Sapphire because they're on colour, and Black Lotus, and then obviously the Blue Draw and Time Walk spell. Landstill operates very similarly across formats, right? Highlander and Legacy and so on. Anything running the card Standstill is usually going to deploy something that takes advantage of the fact that your opponent can't really do something without cracking Standstill. Like you've got a threat, whether it's a creature land or whether it's, in Highlander, Delver of Secrets and then Standstill or something. One of these things where they have to answer it, otherwise they're going to die.
Interesting to note, he's only got 3 man lands, which means if he just like blindly does Standstill turn 1, say, off a Mox and a land, he could wait. That could be a long time before he actually gets a threat to take advantage of that.
I've seen a lot that run 4 Mishra's Factory and then 1 Fairy Conclave, and this one's running the 3 Mishra's Factory, which is a bit of a liability. But at the same time, have you seen some of these sweet brews?
He's got 4 man lands. Yeah, 3 Mishra's Factories, 1 Fairy Conclave.
There's some pretty sweet brews where they've used the Eternalize cards. There's a blue card in Standard that involves drawing and discarding cards, something about power or something like that. And what you can do is you discard those cards to hand size, then you Eternalize them from the graveyard, so you don't have to run creature lands. It's a weird version of Landstill.
That doesn't count as casting.
Yeah, it doesn't count as casting it, so you can kind of just Eternalize and they come out and they just smash your opponent's face.
I like the Adorned Pouncer. That's the double striker.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
I also noted he doesn't have Teferi. I have seen Landstill decks with Teferi, but there's none here. He's got 3 Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Lots of ways to win here, like really slow, dirtly ways to win. So it's going to be interesting to see how the slow dirtle versus the super speed combo aggro actually works. How about we pop down to the match?
Yeah, let's do that. I would think the control list has an advantage in the sense that it does have a main deck Supreme Verdict, although that comes out quite late, depending on how how fast out of the gates James
Well, let's see how fast he is. So he's got Bazaar in the opening hand. He's got some land as well. So
I think I saw a Root Waller as well.
Oh, that's going to be perfect, isn't it? You know, you play your Bazaar turn 1 and then you activate it and then discard your Root Waller and draw, sweet stuff. So let's see whether or not he can turbo out, a hollow one or something. Have you seen that interaction in Dredge, post sideboard where they just bring in 4 hollow ones and 3 Gurmag Anglers and you go, oh, my Containment Priest is pretty bad right now.
I mean, it's really hard because you get attacks from 2 different angles, like the graveyard and the discard straight to the board. It is hard to deal with.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting who's on the play as well. So here we come. Here we go.
I've also seen Landstill decks playing Moat, which would be a powerhouse here.
You're right, yeah. But is that why they run Wonder?
Yeah, he does have Wonder.
Nice. It's like Wonder is specifically so that they can fly over a moat.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And Anger is, I guess, to give your hollow ones haste, because Vengevine.
I also know that Sarva's got one of your favourite creatures, Hooting Mandrills.
Oh, Hooting Mandrills! Oh, yes!
It looks like you'll have to sleeve this one up.
Oh, sweet.
It doesn't have Brainstorm, though.
We're coming right off the back of Highlander where I was rocking Hooting. Oh, here we go. So that was the fastest hand flash I've ever seen. But I did see Brainstorm, my favourite card, was in the hand. So I approved Conor. So obviously Conor was on the play, starting with basic island, and here comes the dredging action.
There's no dredge.
Yeah, that's right. There's no dredge.
It's just drawing and discarding.
The behaviour reminiscent of a dredging player, but obviously not actually.
You would assume dredge here, and then you go, whoa,
look, 2! Oh, 2 of the little lizards,
plus the little flashback artifact destruction in the bin.
So got Ancient Grudge ready for the first, mocks to destroy.
So how big are these guys? Are they
1/1?
But you got to pay mana to make them 3/3.
I think it's something like 2 mana, and you can pump them up to 3/3, which is pretty respectable. But
so why didn't he block there?
Oh yeah, that is a bit of a misstep there.
Maybe does he want to hold up he might mana leak or something, or what? Kind of
he might have
interaction.
I don't know.
He's got Flusterstorm, but that's not going to do much.
Yeah, he might just not yet know what when you're afraid, you're like, oh, I could take 1 damage less here, or I could actually see what you're about to do. So there is some value in that, holding back and possibly doing it. Here we go, survival, because that would be a must counter target. But survival of the fittest, once that's out and it has resolved. So now that it's out, so this is an end of turn brainstorm. This is a desperation brainstorm.
You really wanted that brainstorm.
Yeah, this is where you just kind of go, look, I know I'm behind. I need to brainstorm. There's merit there to brainstorming in response to the survival rather than at the end of the turn. And it's possible that this could have happened. It's never necessarily
because you could hit the Force of Will.
Yeah. But looks like he didn't hit the Force of Will. So as long as he makes his land drops and actually once the survival is resolved, it's going to be very, very hard to play a fair game.
No white mana yet as well. So no Supreme Verdict or Balance or... Although balance is bad against enchantments, but
true. So this is Noble Hierarch being discarded, so it's probably going to be a Vengevine, do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm not sure, or the Hollow one or whatever, but
yeah. So Vengevine. Vengevine's. Oh no, who? Yeah, Vengevine. That's Vengevine.
So you got to play 2 dudes to get him back.
Yeah. So once it's the second creature spell cast in the turn, then he triggers, and basically all the Vengevines will trigger. So that's why it's really good with the Root Waller.
So that's why the Root Waller's there.
Yeah, because the Root Waller is actually, when you cast it for its madness cost, I believe you still cast the creature. It's just for its madness cost.
Which is 0. Yeah.
So that allows you to really, really turbo out with Vengevine. So that's 2 Vengevines in the graveyard because he's now activated a fetch land to find Tiger. And here's a hollow one. So he's discarded 3 cards in the turn. Is that right?
You spent 3 mana.
Yeah, so he spent 3 mana, discarded 3 cards, Noble Hierarch, Vengevine, and then he's going to cast the hollow one for 0. But if he can find a second hollow one here,
or
a Root Waller, everything... Yeah, this is going to be so good. Let's see if he can hit it, because...
And Anger as well.
So. Oh, Anger. One angry boy is going to come out of that hollow one.
Can't see what's in the graveyard there.
Yeah, basically the graveyard has now gone to the floor. It's gone all the way to the, right off the edge of the table down to the floor. So I think James is probably just trying to find out, is there a way I can get a second creature
block,
here?
Yes.
Yeah,
He could have attacked first and with a threat of activation with his open mana.
Yeah, I think that's nice. That would be nice.
Yeah.
So, is this the Hollow One not played? Did we just not read it? Maybe Hollow One wasn't actually...
No, he had it in his hand.
He's trying to make sure he deploys two in one turn.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes sense now. Yeah, I was thinking, what's going on? So he could just find, say, he's going to get all the Vengevines. That's the plan. So patience here paying off because it's going to cause lethal in one turn, right? Because if he gets 4 Vengevines attacking, that's 18 damage, which is enough for lethal. Depending on, a block, obviously, pending a block. So here's a Rootweiler that gets discarded, which is now being cast. So he has 4 Vengevines in the graveyard. No, 3 Vengevines in the graveyard. It's a large number of Vengevines in the graveyard. He's cast Rootweiler, and here comes Mental Misstep. So this is funny. So its casting cost is 2...
No, it's 1.
It's 1. It's 1. But on the stack, when you pay the madness cost, it's still 1?
Still 1,
right?
yeah.
Okay, right. And now, here comes the Hollow One, which is the second creature spell cast in the turn. The Hollow One gets... Oh, he just cast 2 more Hollow Ones as well. So he just had a handful of Hollow Ones. That's so good.
And that plays like a combo deck, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. That feels like a combo rather than aggro, right?
Yeah.
So that was sweet. It's really awesome to see it when a deck does what it intends to do, just fires on all cylinders. But I don't think that's going to happen game 2 because we've got a powerful sideboard from Landstill in the form of Containment Priest. Containment Priest denies the ability for Vengevine to return to play, which basically shuts off those turbo wins.
But you can still bash down with Hollowed One and Basking Rootweiler.
Exactly. Yeah. So you probably, if you anticipate that your white playing opponent is bringing in Containment Priest, you're probably going to be a little bit more patient, and you're never really going to put, all 4 Vengevines into the graveyard, or I don't know. I haven't necessarily looked at this specific matchup together, but I assume that just like Dredge, you play a little bit more cagey game 2 and 3. Right?
Speaking of cage, Grafdigger's Cage, does that do anything?
Yeah, Grafdigger's Cage is
it doesn't do anything.
It denies the creature coming in from the graveyard.
Yeah, okay.
But nothing.
It doesn't shut down the survival.
No, so they can still basically. So this is what would happen, right? They play Grafdigger's Cage. You pitch, Vengevine to find Manglehorn. Then you cast Manglehorn to destroy Grafdigger's Cage, and then now suddenly you're unlocked again.
Yeah, or you can just start casting Hollowed Ones and beat it down.
Just cast Hollow Ones. So I really like how robust the deck is in the face of hate and the flexibility that you have, but also the ability to do these explosive things, do crazy stuff.
Yeah, because from the control player seat, you need to take care of the graveyard. It's a massive threat. Well, Chalice of the Void coming in. And
Hooting Mandrill's going out. No, my poor Hooting Mandrill.
So Chalice maybe brings that in on the play.
So this is likely a situation wherein James hasn't... Oh, here's the sideboard. Yep, so siding out a bunch of blue cards, including Flusterstorm and the like, and probably siding in all of the hate. We'll just assume it's all the...
He's got Disenchant,
Disenchant, great, yeah.
Even Energy Flux, no, that's not good enough against Hollowed One, is it?
Probably not, but, the fact that they have Survival of the Fittest as an engine... and it's vulnerable to Disenchant is really good, but at the same time, Survival of the Fittest, you can play it on turn 3 or something, or with a Mox, and you just activate it once, then it gets disenchanted, but you've already got the Vengevine in the graveyard, and you've got the card you want to actually cast the following turn. So, Survival is not as vulnerable as most other enchantments.
Yeah, Conor does look a little vulnerable to Dredge and similar strategies. Granted, he does have the Containment Priest and the Grafdiggers. That's 5 cards.
I kind of, never leave home without 6 cards of graveyard hate, and most
7.
of the time it's 7. Yeah, 7 is like the number I'm safe at.
Yeah,
but 6 is the minimum I ever leave home with. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not James was sideboarding according to, say, just all blue control decks, because as you could see, he only took out 1 card.
Yeah, I think he's main decked.
Yeah, he's just so good against it. Right, so that's a strip mine.
That's good against Bazaar.
Nice to see a strip mine in an opening hand when your opponent's, running 4 Bazaars and they're integral to the deck. But 1 activation is often enough. And here we go with a non-Bazaar opener. So this is a bit bizarre. This is going to be... This was a 7 keep, right? So what is this? Like,
do you just cast the Root Wall?
Hard cast.
You wouldn't.
Surely not. Surely you just
keep
wait for the madness times.
Yeah. Because you want to use it as a trigger for your Vengefine combo.
Yeah, that's it. So, but he has Noble Hierarchs, and this could easily be a Noble Hierarch opening, which just allows him to power ahead on mana like a Mox almost. And speaking of Mox, here's Ruby and Thalia. Ooh, yeah, I like this.
There's 3 main deck.
Oh, I love it. This is just really punishing for blue decks, right?
Because that's where it's a genuine aggro. It's kind of attacking mana as well.
Yeah, I love it. This is fantastic. And, beat down with Elvish Spirit Guides at some point. Could be a thing.
Yeah, potentially.
So, surely when you untap with Thalia as an aggro player, it feels good, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
When your opponent doesn't do anything. So, here's Bazaar. So, that was really good. He probably had the Bazaar in the opener, and he's been very patient because he knows that strip mining it, before he gets actually the opportunity to do this is big. So, that was discard Ancient Grudge, and he discarded 2 Rootweiler, which he played for the madness cost of 0, bashing in for 2. And another Mox.
You can do at least 5 damage next turn, just with creatures on board.
Yeah, definitely.
Potentially 7 if he has another mana to activate the other Rootwaller.
Yep.
And that's no joke. 7
yeah,
a turn.
absolutely. Yeah, you got a nice aggressive clock there. And the Ancient Grudge in the graveyard actually threatens to blow up a Mishra's Factory that threatens to block, or a Mox or something like that. This is nice. End of turn Swords to Plowshares, being able to untap with all of your mana at your disposal against a deck that doesn't have Force of Will, or any counter spells or interaction, is a good feeling. Rest in peace. Ooh, R.I.P. James. Now, obviously, this does not negate the fact that he's got 2 1/1s out, and he can still madness other things from his hand, and he can also hard cast Vengevines. Oh, hard cast Little Lizard, Basking Rootweiler.
Yeah, just beat down. Don't worry about the
Chalice
graveyard.
For 1. Oh, so that right after playing it for 1, play the 1 drop, then play a Chalice for 1. Sweet.
Yeah, I missed the Rest in Peace in his sideboard. Sorry, yeah. So he does have a lot of graveyard hate, but this is the flexibility of the James's deck, is that it doesn't need the graveyard. It can abuse it, but it doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it. Sometimes you just attack with 1/1s, I guess.
And when you get little guys down so quickly, it makes Standstill a bit of a liability. There's no really opening to cast it.
Yeah, switching off your opponent's namesake card, like 4 of card, that they really want. So that was a Swords to Plowshares for another 1/1. It feels emaciated, right, when you Swords to Plowshares and go 1/1. But you just got to do it, because what happens is you Swords to Plowshares one of them, and actually you buy like 6 turns or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of turns. And here's Strip Mine ready for...
So do you activate it now? How many cards has James got, I wonder?
Look, if you stripped the Savannah to turn off any Thalia or Spellquiller or any other white spells, that's interesting. Possibility.
He's gone to Standstill.
Snapcaster into Standstill. This is very interesting. So you have the ability to shut off your opponent's game plan. They have to cast spells in order to get back in the game because, the Rest in Peace isn't going anywhere. And he can't just say get things, out of the graveyard or something.
But isn't James ahead on board? He's got 2 3/3s.
Yes.
So that's very dangerous for Conor to cast Standstill when he's behind on board.
It is very possible that Conor didn't read the Rootweiler text. So the Rootweiler text is something that actually exists on actual card Rootweiler. That is a 3-drop version of this 1-drop, and it has that ability: pay to make. Get +1/+1, activate it only once a turn. And Conor here is not blocking, and he's just taking the damage. So this could be... I'll be interested to see what this is telegraphing. Is it a library hand where he's just going to go, okay, I
don't think Conor's got a hand.
Oh.
I think he's out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a Desperation Standstill, which is never good. Desperation Standstill is usually...
You might have thought, even though I'm behind, at least it'll buy me some time.
Yeah, they're not going to deploy some things into it. So, yeah, that's possible. So there's the pump. So that was an attack for 4 there, because he pumped one of the Rootweilers. And this is one where it's going to be a block, right? Pump the thing, make it a 3/3, not tramples, but powers straight over that Snapcaster Mage. And now there's lethal on board if a land is drawn. If the land is not drawn, it's going to be lethal next turn. So land's not drawn, take 4, go to 1, and Conor needs Hail Mary here.
Moat, but he doesn't
Yeah,
have it. Or
moat.
Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, Supreme Verdict will get there. Oh, that's a blocker, but it's not 2 blockers.
No.
So we're going to need, to crack your own standstill, which never feels good. Oh, so you can pump. Yeah,
Nice.
that's it.
Scooped up.
That's it. So that is a victory for survival. Congratulations to James, and we'll see how he goes for the rest of the tournament too. And we'll be back again with round 2.
See you guys.